Welcome to this week's Blue Mondays. Blue Mondays is where we take a look at national, state, and local news through a democratic and really a progressive perspective. On this week's show, we are going to be joined by Michael McHale. Michael McHale is the chairman of the Calcasieu Parish Democratic Party. Over there in Lake Charles, they have a lot going on, especially with the recovery from Rita. Michael's going to tell us how that recovery is coming along, as well as other things that they have going on over in Calcasieu Parish. But first, as always, this week in the news. Former Congressman Mark Foley resigns in disgrace. That's right. Former Congressman Mark Foley of Florida has had to resign now in disgrace as ABC and CREW stands for Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington, uncover the seedy details of his interactions with teenage male pages. Pages, you may not know, are the page program has been in existence for well over 100 years in Washington, D.C., and that's where mothers and fathers send their teenage sons and daughters out to Washington, D.C. as they are 15, 16, 17-year-olds, and the pages then learn how the inner workings of Congress happens. They serve as messengers for the different congressional offices, and this has been a tried and true program. However, there have been scandals in the past. Most recently now, we find that Mark Foley of Florida has been involved with male pages where he seems to be stalking them on the internet. Over the summer, CREW was sent email exchanges between Foley and a 16-year-old, actually from Louisiana. The email correspondence shows a very, scary interaction between the 16-year-old male and that of the former congressman. Inside of these emails, there are requests for photographs, which definitely seem odd, and anyone who pays any attention to these internet predators, many warning flags are going up when these emails were revealed, and that's why CREW sent it on to the FBI for an investigation. However, the FBI seems to have done very little with it. Then ABC apparently received that very same information and started looking into this matter. Well, as soon as they did, they found out a heck of a lot more. Here's some clips from their breaking news report from ABC.
Florida Republican Congressman Mark Foley resigned today, effective immediately, after sexually explicit messages sent to underage boys surfaced as a result of an ABC News investigation. The boys were congressional pages. Congressman Foley championed anti-pornography legislation, and he co-chaired a committee to protect missing and exploited children. Our chief investigative correspondent, Brian Ross, who broke this story, joins us now. Brian, it's an amazing story.
Indeed, Terry. Foley's resignation came just hours after ABC News questioned the congressman about a series of sexually explicit instant messages involving the congressional pages, high school students who are under 18 years of age. In Congress, Foley was part of the Republican leadership and the chairman of the House caucus on missing and exploited children. He crusaded for tough laws against those who use the internet for sexual exploitation of children.
They're sick people. They need mental health counseling. They certainly don't need to be interacting with children.
But according to several former congressional pages, the congressman himself used the internet to engage in sexually explicit exchanges. They say he used the screen name MAF54 on these messages provided to ABC News. You in your boxers, too? Nope, just got home. I had a college interview that went late. Well, strip down and get relaxed. Another message. What you wearing? T-shirt and shorts. Love to slip them off of you. And this one. Do I make you a little horny? A little cool. The language gets much more graphic. Too graphic to be broadcast. And at one point, the congressman appears to be describing internet sex. Federal authorities say such messages could result in Foley's prosecution under some of the same laws he helped to enact.
Well, it adds up to soliciting underage children for sex. And what it amounts to is serious both state and federal violations that could potentially get you a number of years.
Foley's resignation letter was submitted late this afternoon, and he left Capitol Hill without speaking to reporters. In a statement, he said he was deeply sorry and apologized for letting down his family and the people of Florida. But he made no mention of the internet messages or the pages. One former page tells ABC News that his entire class was warned about Foley by people involved in the program. Other pages told ABC News they were hesitant to report Foley because of his power in Congress. This all came to a head in the last 24 hours. Yesterday, we asked the congressman about some much tamer emails from one page, and he said he was just being overly friendly. After we posted that story online, we began to hear from a number of other pages who sent these much more explicit instant messages. When the congressman realized we had them, he resigned, Terry.
Very disturbing story, Brian. Tell us about this congressional page program. What kind of safeguards are involved in Capitol Hill for the young people who come to serve there?
This is a much coveted program for high school students who come from around the country to experience what Washington is like. 23 years ago, there was a similar scandal in which many congressmen were accused of having sex with interns. Supposedly, safeguards were put in place. Today, the Speaker of the House, Dennis Hassard, announced the House will now begin yet another investigation to see if there are other congressmen.
That was ABC News as they broke the story last Friday. Now, coming into this, this problem is obviously bad, okay? This is a bad situation that should be dealt with immediately. The problem is, and how this became partisan is, simply because the Republicans have now engaged in a total and complete cover-up, and it appears that they have been doing this now for over 4 years. They knew of Congressman Foley's predilection for young male pages. They knew about this now for quite some time. This is how it has become such a huge problem. From the start, the Republicans knew that this was going on, and they definitely engaged in cover-up. First, there was Rodney Alexander. Yes, formerly a Democrat, but he switched, as you probably have remember, here in Louisiana. He switched at the last minute and became a Republican, making very many people upset in his district. However, shortly after that election and he became a Republican, he was told of this interaction. Actually, this page that's in question, the 16-year-old boy, lived in Congressman Alexander's district. In fact, Congressman Alexander actually was the sponsor of this youth. When he found out about this information, he spoke with the parents, and the parents were obviously concerned, and the parents didn't want to make a big thing out of this, so the congressman says, and he went and reported it to House leadership. To the Speaker of the House? No. To the Majority Leader? No. Instead, he went to the person who is responsible for getting Republicans elected. This is how this became a partisan issue. He wanted to prove his loyalty to the Republican Party and keep this inside their party. That obviously is a huge problem. Apparently then, he did go and tell some other individuals, and it then becomes clear that the new majority leader, Bonner, from Ohio, is then told of this information, where he can't seem to get his story straight whatsoever. He has now then said at first that he went to see the Speaker of the House. Then he denied seeing the Speaker of the House. Now he's back saying that he did talk to the Speaker of the House, and Denny Hastert, the Speaker of the House, supposedly assured him that the matter was being taken care of. However, nothing seems to have been done, and what is clear, they never contacted Capitol Police to investigate this matter. This is a huge problem. Protocol would require them to inform the Democratic leadership of the page program as well, so that they could look into this matter and stop this from happening. After all, it is their responsibility to make sure that our children are protected when we send them off to Washington. That obviously did not happen. Democratic leader Nancy Pelosi, after learning about this on Friday, took to the floor of the House and called for an investigation. However, Republican leader Bonner stands up and says, no, we're not going to do this. Instead, we're going to send this over to the Ethics Committee. The Ethics Committee? First off, Congressman Foley has already resigned. The Ethics Committee no longer has any jurisdictional power over the former congressman. They should be investigating this through the normal chains. But no, No, the Republicans have stopped this investigation from proceeding forward. It does appear, though, that Denny Hastert, in trying to save his job, has asked the FBI to take another look into this matter. The Republican spin machine then takes over, and they're in full gear. In fact, Britt Hume, unbelievable, from Fox News, then takes up this matter. Take a look as how he starts to spin it.
I want to talk about the Mark Foley scandal. Mara, you're the one who spends the most time covering, and there's two issues: what Foley did, and perhaps most importantly, the issue of what the House Republican leaders did or failed to do.
I think the question now is how this affects the midterms. That's what people are talking about. Foley's seat, which was considered to be his, it's a competitive seat, but he was going to win. Now, I think, might be a potential loss for the Republicans. There's another seat that's affected, which is Tom Reynolds, the head of the Republican Congressional Campaign Committee, who now is at war with Dennis Hastert about how soon the Speaker's office actually knew about this problem. Reynolds is in a very tight race of his own in upstate New York. That also could be hurt by this.
Bigger issue here. Does this feed into a sense that certainly at least the Democrats are arguing that it shows an arrogant Republican majority that is more concerned about incumbency than about, in this particular case, protecting kids?
It is very serious misbehavior on the part of Congressman Foley. Whether it stems from some overall arrogance or just the weakness of the human flesh is another question. It's probably worth noting here that there's a difference between the two parties on these issues. Inappropriate behavior toward subordinates didn't cost Jerry Studs his Democratic seat in Massachusetts, nor Barney Frank his. Nor did inappropriate behavior toward a subordinate even cost Bill Clinton his standing within the Democratic Party, even though indirectly, at least, he was impeached for it.
Mr. Hume, let's point out a few things. The Democrats that you just mentioned in that clip, Monica Lewinsky, remember, with the Bill Clinton situation? Monica Lewinsky was not a child. She was a full adult. Same thing with Congressman Frank. Get your information straight. We are talking about the predator that is stalking our youth, our children. There is a difference here, Mr. Hume. Unbelievable to me. Also, I'd like to point out that this is not a gay issue. There are simple and clear facts that pedophiles are pedophiles. They are attracted to children. They come in many different stripes. The fact of the matter is, we all agree that attacking children like this and stalking them and going after them and trying to lure them with gifts and nice comments is bad. That is bad. It is a completely different matter. Foley, interestingly enough, Foley has been the lead author and main cheerleader against, yes, you may have guessed it, against internet predator laws. Some of these same laws now will probably be used in his criminal investigation to see if he broke any of them. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Then Republicans keep trying to cover this up. White House Press Secretary Tony Snow, should be noted that he is a former conservative commentator on Fox. Tony Snow has something to say about this. Check out this clip.
Over friendly, any communication between a 16-year-old and a congressman, why doesn't that raise red flags? Major, massive red flags.
Yeah, look, I hate to tell you, but it's not always pretty up there on Capitol Hill, and there have been other scandals, as you know, that have been more than simply naughty emails.
Naughty emails? Naughty emails? Are you kidding me? This is coming from the White House, talking about these interactions as naughty? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I can't believe the amount of hypocrisy that this Republican Party has right now. So much so that many Republicans are now piling on asking for the Speaker of the House, Denny Hastert, to resign his position. Unbelievable. One thing is quite clear, the Republicans definitely are more concerned about keeping control of their absolute power in the three branches of government than they are worried about our children. That has been illustrated time and time again as this scandal has now erupted. I call for anyone that knew about this and did not report it to law enforcement authorities, they should immediately resign their positions. We cannot have our leaders being so incredibly irresponsible and not report such acts into law enforcement. The law enforcement people are prepared, and they are educated, and they can investigate these issues. By not doing this, it shows that their loyalty is only to their party, and they don't care about the children. Unbelievable. Immediately, those folks should resign. To see the entire clip, all of the links, and more, log on to our website and click on Blue Mondays. You'll be able to see all of the different Republican spin machines in full action right on our website. Bob Woodward has a new book. Yes, that's right. Bob Woodward, you may remember from Watergate and Deep Throat fame, has written yet another book, this one entitled State of Denial. And the administration's not so happy about it. You know, especially after Bob Woodward's first two books painted such a glowing picture of this administration and how well they were running things. However, this book, not so much. It should be noted that Woodward is quite known for his more conservative view on things. So when you take a look at this book, you'll definitely see some problems. Let's point a few out. First up, let's take a look at Woodward as he appeared on 60 Minutes this past week. Take a look.
And that sent a 10,000-volt jolt through the White House.
Yeah.
Here's Mr. Military saying we need to get out. And John Abba's aide went to see him privately. This is Bush's and Rumsfeld's commander in Iraq.
Right.
And John Abba's aide held up his fingers, according to Murtha, and said, we're about a quarter of an inch apart. He said, we're that far apart.
Woodward says an intelligence report, classified secret from the Joint Chiefs of Staff, concluded in large print that the Sunni Arab insurgency is gaining strength and increasing capacity despite political progress. And insurgents retain the capabilities to increase the level of violence through next year. But just 2 days later, a public Defense Department report said just the opposite. Violent action will begin to wane in early 2007.
That was Bob Woodward as he appeared on 60 Minutes. More of that clip, of course, on our website, so you can click through and see the entire interview. Woodward reports from many different angles here and uncovers some really damaging information. First off, Condi Rice. Then she was the NSA, or the National Security Advisor for the Bush administration, and she was called into an emergency meeting where George Tenet and his lead czar counterterrorism person, they called her into a meeting and said, look, we got to act. Bin Laden's getting ready to attack. Al-Qaeda is getting ready to attack us here on our mainland. We have got to do something. Mind you, this is July 10th of 2001. 2 months prior to September 11th and the attacks upon us. However, no matter what they could do, they could not get Condi Rice to do anything about this. It's reported in the book that she seemed completely and totally unengaged, uninformed, and really couldn't be bothered with this. She had her sights on other things. Wonder if that was trying to figure out how they were going to invade Iraq? Unbelievable. The book also reports that the military leaders were actually siding with Jack Murtha. Jack Murtha, you may remember, is the Democratic leader who has been out in front, and a very conservative Democrat who's always been out in front of trying to help our military. He has a long and proud service in the military, and come to find out, the military leaders are siding with him. In fact, one of the military leaders was told to say to Jack Murtha that we are this far apart when it comes down to Jack Murtha's plan for redeploying our troops to the outskirts of Iraq so that the Iraqi leadership could actually step up and take over their own country rather than using us, it appears, for bullet practice. Other overriding information in this book is, I suppose that the overriding concept of this book and the overall message here is that the Bush administration from the start has engaged in a systematic approach of dumbing down the information that they are giving and in actuality lying oftentimes to the American people as to what is truly happening not only on the ground in Iraq, but also as to what the military leaders are telling them. You'll probably remember that many of the military leaders have been forced to resign so that they could then speak out. It's unbelievable to me. More on this as it develops. You can also, as always, check through to our website, and we'll have more information on there, including a link to the full entire interview on 60 Minutes with Bob Woodward. The September 30th elections, they are in. And first and foremost, we would like to congratulate Brian Thomas. Brian Thomas, Alderman-elect for District A in Opelousas. Thomas has beat out the three-term incumbent who had held the seat prior to him, and he actually won 55% of the vote. Incredible job there, Brian. Oh, and by the way, did I mention, Brian just turned 20 years old. Congratulations, Brian. You're definitely a rising star in our party, and we will pay special and close attention to your rise in politics. Keep up the good work. In additional news in Opelousas, congratulations also goes to Don Cravens on his win to be the next mayor of Opelousas. Congratulations, Senator and now Mayor Cravens. We look forward to working with you in the future as well. And here are some of the other results from past elections. Congratulations goes out to Ricky Hardy for winning another term on the school board to represent the people of Lafayette Parish's District 3. Congratulations also goes out to Glenn Guasso for his win for Mayor of Carencro with an astonishing 88% of the vote. Great job. Hazel Myers wins another term as Mayor of Scott. Charles Longlanet takes another term as Mayor of Broussard. Congratulations. Carlos Stout wins the police chief race in Carencro. Chad Leger is returning for another term as chief of police in Scott. John Bob Boudreaux beats out his challenger with 62% of the vote in his district in Scott for the city council. Congratulations to the 4 out of the 5 council members in Carencro who are Democrats who have won a term on the city council for Carencro. All 5 are Democrats in the town of Doosan who won their town council's election. Congratulations goes out to Gertrude Batiste in Broussard for winning her seat. And congratulations to all of the other Democrats throughout Acadiana on their wins. And that is your Democratic news for October 9th. We'd like to remind you, tune in every single Monday night at 9 p.m. on AOC Channel 15 for Blue Mondays. Blue Mondays is where we try and keep you informed on all of the different information and happenings that are going on throughout the area. Also, tomorrow morning, get your cup of coffee, get up a few minutes early, and click on over to theadvertiser.com. Each and every week, I write a column online for The Advertiser, and this week, I'm going to tell you exactly why I am supporting Mike Stagg in his race to unseat freshman Congressman Charles Bustani. No surprise or shock there. We'd also like to remind you that Democracy Now! Appears on AOC Channel 16 every single day at 11 a.m. and 11 p.m. And also, as always, check out LafayetteDemocrats.org for all of the information that you find here and elsewhere. Links to a whole bunch of information, happenings, a calendar, and a whole lot of information. If you don't have internet access, feel free to give us a call on our Democratic hotline. That telephone number is 769-7347. And with that, we'll be right back.
We have the power to make a real change happen. Education, jobs, the economy, the war. We have a voice in all these issues.
Rock the vote!
Rock the vote! Rock the vote.
You have the right to choose, you have the right to vote, so on election day, rock the vote.
If you don't register, you can't vote.
So register to Rock the Vote at rockthevote.com.
Rock the vote.
Rock the vote. Rock the vote.
Rock the vote. Rock the vote. Rock the vote. Every day. Every single friggin' day. Please.
And that was was Michael McHale, chairman of the Calcasieu Parish Democratic Party. We thank you, Michael, for coming and appearing on our show. We greatly appreciate all of the work that you're doing over there. Our two cities have a lot in common. We share a congressman, and we are the two largest cities in this congressional district, and we look forward to working with you for the years to come. Again, this has been another Blue Mondays. My name is Stephen Handwerk. I am a member of the Lafayette Parish Democratic Executive Committee and your host here each and every week on Blue Mondays. Blue Mondays appears every Monday night on AOC Channel 15 at 9 p.m. We'd also like to remind you, click on over to our website at LafayetteDemocrats.org. You'll be able to find a lot of great information on there. For that, this has been yet another week of Blue Mondays. We hope that you'll join us again next week. And until then, take care of yourself.